Good morning, ladies and germs. This is my dad, Joel. Dad, say hi, wave to the camera. Dad, we're getting him out for a nice ride. We're up here in Kearney, Ontario. There's a shit ton of snow. Just getting all the guys together, and then we're gonna head out for a nice little rip. Got Jesse, got my brother-in-law Serg, and we're gonna get on the trail.
The plan for today, we're gonna ride down the 95 trail towards Lake of Bays, hop on Lake of Bays, go down towards where are we going? Go down towards Dorset, and then head up the D112B towards Kearney, where we started. Looks like this might be the last ride of the season for the Sled Addicts crew. We were thinking of maybe going to Cochrane, but it looks like with the temperatures coming this week that everything is going to be completely fucked. So riding here, I'm actually blown away. There's a lot of snow. Like, even the roads, you can see it's not bare pavement. We're running ice, so it's not nearly as bad as I thought. And yeah, they got like 6 feet of snow. Now it's less than that. They still got a pretty decent amount of snow, especially for this time in the season. And listen, even though it is pretty crazy because it's the first week of March and we're talking about the season being over for everywhere, not just Southern Ontario, which is crazy to begin with. But we had a great season down south. Trails in Southern Ontario open for quite a while, which blew me away because we haven't seen that in years. I saw this morning the Elmira, I think, or the Elora Snowmobile Club. I just missed the trail. They posted that they were grooming last night, and this is the first time they've been grooming in March in a long time. So yeah, it's been a good season. Sad for it to end, but we are happy that the channel has gotten attention and people are liking the content we're putting out, because that's what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to make content that you guys want to see, and lots of how-to videos, and I think we're going to do a few gear reviews, but this might be the last ride video of the season, and it probably will be. So we thank you guys for supporting us and for watching us this year, and we hope to see you on the trail next year. Trails are not hard at all. Scratchers are not needed, especially if you have studs. If you have studs, no issues. I've had no cooling issues yesterday or today. Mike's brother-in-law actually found an Airbnb in Kearney that we rented, and it's right on Clear Lake, which is right on the trail. So super convenient location, very homey. And it's a boys' weekend to end off the season. Yeah, so we're just getting onto the 95 South here, and that's going to take us down towards Lake of Bays area. Oh yeah, fresh groom last night. People have been on it already, so it's not hard at all. It's actually, there's a good layer of loose snow on top. I'm seeing the snow dust behind me, so definitely not bad. I thought it was going to be way worse. I thought this was just a ride to end off the season where we do a little bit just to say we rode, but it's decent. The Highland Rovers Club does an amazing job. This trail is mint. We were actually in Sudbury last weekend, and there was nowhere near the amount of snow that there is here. They got hammered. I was told from like Kearney area all the way up to like Berks Falls and across to Restoule and North Bay area just got hammered with snow. We were in Sudbury last weekend, and honestly I can say these conditions are better than what Sudbury was last weekend, and we had a warm up in between, so they're pretty good. When we came in last night from our night ride, both groomers were out and had freshly groomed all the trails. You can see this was groomed last night too, so. Some killer hills. This must be brutal for the groomer to climb. obviously the first part of the trail to get chewed up. Sled's coming, guys. Nice. Yeah, we are going this way. Whew. Oh, freshly groomed that way though. Darn. Oh, this is freshly groomed too. Man, it's gonna be a good day. Just gonna send it.
Trails are in amazing shape. Definitely weren't expecting them to be this good, and we should have a great ride today. Here's my dad on his 600R again. Did some swapping back with him, let him try the 850. It was his first time, and he just loved it. He noticed totally like how great the suspension is on the XRS2 in between this and his TNT. It's been such a fantastic year. This is probably one of the best years I think of riding that we've had. There's a lot of guys out, and this is such a busy area. We've seen probably already 50 sleds this morning, and it's not even, it's just turned 11 o'clock. So we're doing some swapping back and forth. Got my brother-in-law with us today. He's trying out Jesse's other sled with his dad's sled, which is the Polaris Indy XC850. It's a 2019. I rode it for a little bit too. We had some minor issues with losing a carbide yesterday and worn down one of the skis. But he likes it. He likes the Polaris. He loves the easy kind of handling in the front end for sure, which is again what everybody comments on with the poos. And then, you know, you get back on the Skidoo and you definitely have more of a handful in the steering. So he's not sure what he's going to get yet for next year. We'll probably get him on an 850. I'm assuming it's going to be an 850 Renegade. Probably XRS as well, but we'll see. Absolutely loving these 6-inch Bergstroms too. Got enough miles on them now. And they work great. And even my dad's 7 years old, so, you know, we set everything up nice and easy and light for him, especially with that 600R. But he said even the steering on this, he was surprised was light, which is kind of crazy. So I definitely highly recommend them if you guys are thinking about carbides. New carbides for your Skidoo 850s. These things work great. Just the right amount of bite and still have pretty reasonably light steering. Beautiful day. Trails in Muskoka and Kearney area, I mean, they're always so beautiful. That's the thing, is it's such a nice area to ride. So when you get superb like conditions like today, you can't beat it. It's just great. Totally different pace, obviously, than what we're doing for our Quebec riding or for Cochrane riding. I mean, it's more of a normalized pace, if you will. Lots of good scenery, beautiful scenery, tight twisties, some open stretches here and there. We'll get some lakes today, hopefully.
Just got into the Algonquin Snowmobile Club area, and we're about to head on the 78 into Dwight, and then hopping on Lake of Bays. We're just waiting for Mike and his dad, and we're chilling. Trails are mint, a little bit soft in here and tight and twisty, but not bumpy at all, so can't really complain, especially for the last day of the season.
Very nice.
Okay, so we just filled up gas in Dwight at Webster's Beacon. They also have like a little sandwich place in there, so I had a chicken parm and some of the guys had chicken Caesar wraps. Food was excellent. A little bit of road running coming into Dwight from the north side, but not bad. Crazy traffic though. We're seeing lots and lots of sleds. The trails were pretty good all morning, not really any bumps. And now we're heading on the 77, I believe, to the 76, and that's going to take us into nice, Serg. That's going to take us into Lake of Bays, and then we'll hop on Lake of Bays and take that to Dorset to Today out of all days, super important to stay to your side because there's literally hundreds and hundreds of sleds here. Everyone and their mother and daughter came to Muskokas today to go riding. Trails are still very good considering the amount of traffic that's come through here. Okay, so let's do this. This machine now has about 4,400 kilometers on it. Mike's machine has about 3,900 kilometers on it, so they're basically very similar. Now, the only difference is between Mike's machine and my machine is that Mike's is running 6-inch Bergstrom triple skegs, and I'm running the 8-inch Pilot Executive Series carbides. Besides that, our suspension is set up identical. Everything else is the same. Now, having tried Mike's machine, I think the 6-inch triple points are the way to go. Overall, these machines, again, we can't really talk about reliability of this specific machine because we haven't put that many kilometers on it. 4,000 kilometers is not any point where you would question reliability. But me and Mike both can speak about reliability because we've had 850 Renegade XRSs for long periods of time. So my 18 XRS, I put on 14,000 kilometers and the machine ran mint and I didn't have any engine problems. So there's kind of a middle ground. Like Mike's machine, his 2018 XRS also has about 10,000 kilometers on it and there were no issues. So yeah, I can't really speak about the engine. The machines are very similar. The main difference with the 2021 are these the Pilot X skis and the Raz X front suspension, which do a great job of making the machine stay more planted in the corners, which we definitely notice. But besides that, it's basically the same machine plus the new premium gauge. How's it going, guys? These machines just give me a huge smile across my face every time I squeeze the throttle. 850's got good power while not sacrificing on weight. Because obviously you can tell me that there are lots of 4-strokes that have more power and have higher top end and might have more torque and all of that, and you can tune your machines, but at the end of the day, if you want the best machine, in my personal opinion, for tight trail riding, when it goes into the tight and twisties, there's nothing better than a 2-stroke. I rode Andrew's 900 Turbo a lot the other week, and in the corners, you're really fighting to keep that machine on the trail, and I could not keep up with Andrew when he was running my XRS 850. So, again, each to their own, but for me and Mike, I think 2 strokes is what we like. A lot of guys are telling us you should get 4 strokes because we're putting on lots of miles. And I agree, but I just don't like the machine. I rode the machine. First of all, the throttle I can't stand, but it's my understanding that there's now going to be a cable throttle in the new 2022s. But the other thing for me is the weight. Like, I rode Andrew's machine for 20 minutes and I was pooped. These machines are just more playful. Again, I'm not a professional. Me and Mike just do a lot of sledding and we have lots of experience riding machines and sledding for me since I was a young kid, and the same for Mike. The other thing, I'm hoping that Skidoo finally gets an agreement with the OFSC and they can put the Ontario mappings on the BRP Go app, but we gotta wait and see if that happens. The 4-day trip we were in Quebec, I used BRP Go and it seemed to work great, so it would be really great if it came to Ontario. I think I probably would still use my my Garmin Zumo because the mapping is just super clear and I can plan everything out of my computer and it's really easy. But that is until Skidoo, or if Skidoo changes that gauge. The premium gauge they added last year, it's definitely a huge step up over what they had before, but I'll be honest with you guys, it doesn't hold a candle to the 7S display. I rode Rich's machine. That display is amazing. The GPS is insane. I would not use my Garmin if I had that machine. I wouldn't even consider it because that screen is super bright and it's large. And this screen is bright and it's large enough, but it's also very much lower. Like, here, look where my GPS is right now. That's where the 7S display would be. So that's a way better location versus on the 7.8-inch gauge by Skidoo. I gotta kind of look down and take my eye off the trail to see the gauge, versus on the Polaris's where it's right in front of you and basically right in the same direction that you're looking on the trail. So definitely a huge step up. I gotta give it to Polaris. Their gauge blows the socks out of the Skidoo gauge. But yeah, I still really, me and Mike still really want to try VR1s so we can see what all the fuss is about and see if they really compare. But for right now, we can't be happier with these rides. Like right now, I'm riding it with one hand and this machine is not nervous. I could not do that with my 18. My 18 was all over the trail. I'm making a left turn right now and I'm one-handed, absolutely no issues. So that to me is the biggest. Yeah, they got the gauge, but the biggest thing for 2021 was this better front-end performance by not lifting the ski as much and by being less of a nervous front end and being less kind of like wandering on the trail. You pick a line and it stays with it, which is getting closer to the Polaris front end, but I still don't think it's there. The Polaris front end, in my opinion, is still better, but Skidoo is getting so close, and the arm motion blows everything else out of the water. So if Polaris releases a rear suspension that's better than the arm motion, so they improve the Pro CC in some way, that's really going to give Skidoo a run for their money. So how you liking the Polaris? Is there still a carbide on there? Yeah, it's still on there. Oh boy. Okay, well don't get your panties in a twist. There's snow on the ground. Our machines haven't blown up yet. Let's keep riding. Dorset, let's go. Like a top. Nice 184 kilometers an hour. Mike, drag race? Okay, we're doing a race between the Polaris Indy and my twin over here. 3, 2, 1, go! Haha, I'm gone, bitch. Okay, race number 2. Okay, we ready? Yeah. 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, ice. Gone. Oh, Mike caught up to me and passed me. That was the quickest Lake of Bays run I've ever done. This D101B is one of my favorite trails in the area. It's just nice and wide. There's some big sweeping turns. Takes you to the Oxotongue Shelter, which we're going to come up to in a minute. Nice place to just stop and chill for a bit. And there's also the 60 series trails, like the 65, I believe, and the 63 that head like northeast of the D101B towards Algonquin Park. What are you doing, lady? Middle of the trail. That's really smart. Anyways, yeah, they're logging roads. A lot of years they don't open because there's logging on them, but when they do open, they're definitely a treat to try out when you get the chance. Coming into Dorset was a little bit hairy. There was definitely some mud. Why are people stopping? Jeez. So many people out on the trail, so many people that don't know snowmobile etiquette. Anyways, yeah, so there's all those trails that go north, that go like off of the 101B, that are some nice trails to try out if you get the chance. But anyways, what I was saying about Dorset, yeah, it was a little muddy and snurty coming out of Dorset, but once we got like a kilometer down on the 101B, it was mint again, so can't complain. Here's one of those 60 series trails that I was talking about. Yeah, I think we're gonna go to the Oxotongue Shelter and take a stop, and then from there we might do a local loop. Just a great trail all around. These carbides bite so well. It's been a great season. I want to thank all the clubs in Ontario that have done a great job, and we're able to maintain trails and give people riding opportunities, especially locally this year with COVID. I want to give a huge shout out especially to the OFSC districts 5 and 9, because those areas in previous years have had marginal opportunities to ride in terms of them getting snow, and yet and in those areas majority of the trails are private, and they all have to be staked on farm fields and stuff, and that takes a lot of effort from the volunteers, and these clubs are doing it year after year without opening trails because conditions don't allow, but yet they don't give up. And this year, given that conditions did allow, they were able to open trails and people were able to ride. Like my local club that I volunteer for, which is the Science Hill Drifters in St. Mary's in District 5, I don't believe we've had open trails for more than a few days in almost 5 years. So the fact that they're every year these clubs are getting out there, they're staking trails, they're getting everything signed early, and then this year, because we got the snow, it paid off and people got to ride. And it's just awesome that these clubs continue to do the work and they don't get discouraged, because if they did and then this year we didn't have a club, there would be no trails open even though the conditions did allow. So it's always nice to have local opportunities available to ride, and you guys should all, if you have the time, try volunteering for a club. It can be very rewarding, and I guarantee you most clubs in the province are in need of volunteers and no one's going to turn you away. So reach out to your local club and they will let you know what you can do to help them out. And we are just approaching the Oxotongue Shelter, right about, I think it's at this stop sign. Oh yeah, all the suns are coming out. Yeah, right over this bridge. The Oxotongue Shelter, part of the Algonquin Snowmobile Club. It's a classic place to take a pit stop. Yeah, so I just met pretty cool dude on the trail. We were stopped at the Oxotongue Shelter, and there was this guy on a brand new 2021 Backcountry XRS, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, God, he looks familiar. And then it clicked. It's Vern Putzer, who is a contributing editor for Snow Tracks TV and Super Tracks magazine. So we stopped, we chatted for a while. Super nice guy. Spoke about all kinds of different sleds. Apparently some of the Snow Tracks team are testing out some 2022 machines today. So that's where the Lester brothers are. But Vern is out riding with his daughter, who's also been on Snow Tracks a few times. So it was nice to meet them and chat with them for a little bit. Tell them about Sled Addicts, so now they know who we are, which is pretty cool. And yeah, now we're just continuing to trek back to Kearney, but that kind of made my day. I was super happy that I met him and we got to chat for a little bit. What happened? Was it a head on or?
No, sled's right there. It's not bad. People hogging lanes and stuff, right? Not staying in their own. So that's the problem right here.
Yeah.
Way here was pretty bad. So, crazy.
I just care that everyone's okay. That's the end.
Yeah.
I don't care about if it's going to take us time to get through here. I just want to... No rush.
No.
They should take their time. Yeah. See, this shows you snowmobiling as a sport. We're all concerned with how that person is, not just rushing by. Yeah, so the long story short, right over there, basically this woman came around the turn and some guy came from the other direction in the middle of the trail, and she flew off the machine. The guy watched it happen and kept going, didn't stop, and she looks like she broke her hip or something like that. and they put her on a stretcher and cleared her out, and now finally we're coming through, and I believe the stretcher is actually just in front of us on the trail, so we gotta take it nice and slow because we are in the middle of nowhere and we're not close to a road, so they have to get her out, and they're going really slow because any of the bumps on the trail are gonna hurt her hip and give her pain, so they're trying to give her the most leisurely ride as possible out of the trail to not inflict more pain or damage to her body. I hope she's okay, and I hope she makes a full recovery. Just another day of snowmobiling, unfortunately. Accidents happen all the time. Everyone's got to be careful. It's a perfect example of trying to stay to your side as much as you can, especially when you're going up blind hills.
I'll take the poo. Wow, this is totally different. Oh my god. I don't think I've driven this yet. Oh, this brake is totally fucked, by the way. Okay, Dad, you take mine. I'm gonna take the 600 again.
Joel, Mike's dad, is riding Mike's XRS right in front of us, and he loves it. Going back and forth from the TNT 600R to the 850 XRS. He was blown away. And everyone rode my dad's Indy 137. Sorry, Indy 129. It's a 2019 850. And the consensus was that the front end is great. It's super light, but that the rear end, the rear suspension, the Pro CC, doesn't hold a candle to the R-Motion suspension. Even the TNT's R-Motion suspension that's not XRS KYB shocks, or the KYB compression adjustable shocks. So that was kind of surprising. But yeah, these machines are all running mint. We've all been going back and forth between machines all day. I rode Mike's, Mike rode mine, I rode the Polaris, I rode the MXZ. We played a nice game of musical sleds all afternoon. And listen, the only way you can tell differences between sleds is to go back and forth. So like Joel, Mike's dad, rode my machine, and he was like, I don't really notice that the steering is heavier than Mike's. And then he went right onto Mike's machine from mine, and he's like, okay, it's definitely heavier. So like at the end of the day, when you want to make judgments between machines, you got to really ride them back and forth and jump from one to the other, and that's what we've been doing. And I think we found out some interesting things. My machine isn't as heavy, isn't like that much heavier than Mike's, because we thought with the 2-inch carbide difference, Mike being 6 and mine being 8, that it would be a dramatic difference. My machine bites a little harder and it likes to slide out the rear end a little bit, but it's not as different as we thought. My steering is still pretty light. But the lightest machine out of all that are here in terms of steering is the Polaris. But because it's so light, it doesn't bite as much. So there's always a trade-off involved, and you just got to find the balance for what you as a rider like. And everyone's different. All good? Oh God. Well, there's the groomer. Look at that, boys. Last rip of the day on Fresh Groom. Highland Rovers, best club around. Look at that. Some fresh ribbon. Woo! What a way to end the season, Fresh Groom. I want to give a huge shout out to the Highland Rover Snowmobile Club. We've been here for 2 days, and every single night we've been here, or rather last night, they groomed all the trails. Tonight they groomed all the trails. I've heard nothing but good things. I know Mark Reynolds, who I've spoken to a few times, who I believe is a groomer operator for Highland Rovers. I don't know what his position is in the club, but I've seen, I know that he's definitely a huge part of the club, and they have been doing amazing work. And and this might be the end of the 2021 season. Only time will tell.
If you liked that video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the Sled Addicts YouTube channel, where we release content on everything snowmobiles. Also, hit that bell icon so you can be updated every time we release new videos.